Hi, I'm Randy Farmer. I'm the co-inventor of the graphical virtual world with Lucasfilm's Habitat, which means I'm a co-inventor of the avatar, RMT.
Did you guys come up with the word avatar? Who did that?
Chip Morningstar did. He found that as a Sanskrit word. It's kind of interesting. If you look at Snow Crash, the first edition, Neil Stephenson takes credit for the coining, and I contacted him with email once. He was on the well at the time, and I said, "Oh, you might want to know, we've used it that way. You were absolutely right. Most of the stuff you wrote in the book is actually accurate, but a couple of things were wrong. I thought you might like to know about those." We struck up a friendship, and then, much to our surprise, in the third edition of Snow Crash, Chip Morningstar and myself were credited. So that was really nice.
That's the edition I read, because I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
So, Randy, what excites you about current metaverse technology?
Well, it's the same thing that's always excited me. I like the presentation Corey gave of his stuff. It's finally getting
Corey Bridges.
Corey Bridges, yeah, gave some, showed that you don't have to compromise on rendering technology if you're thinking about presenting a three-dimensional space. I look forward to seeing that with several hundred avatars. So we did Times Square. I think that's so that they can do New Year's Eve on Times Square. So I really look forward to seeing if they can pull that off, both in terms of scale and rendering. But what really excites me is what's always excited me, and that is connecting humans with humans. That's why I entered the industry when I was a teenager, before it was an industry. When you connected with 300 baud modems, I always thought that it would be great to facilitate human-to-human communication. Back when people thought it was first machines were for computation, that's what computers were for, hence their names. Then when the web came out, it was kind of like brochureware. It was communications, but it was push communications. You just got ads and you got web pages with information on them. But I've always been fascinated from the very beginning by people interacting with each other, either playing games and blowing each other up, or falling in love and getting married, or just getting work done.
What concerns you about current metaverse technology?
I'm going to go with the same thing Raph said today at the conference. So the incentives aren't set up right to accomplish some of the goals that people have stated. So people talk about interoperability. I still don't even know what the case is. Everyone says, I want to share avatars. I don't even know what that means. So I worry that there's a confusion between the efforts for standards and having them emerge as standards. Even today we saw X3D presentation, which appears to be the grandchild of Vermal. It still seems like a lot of work going towards standards because we need them, but they're not, it doesn't meet that balance between emerging from something that's been demonstrated to work and is being deployed, and doing the right thing. So it's a real tough thing.
What would be the most surprising impact of metaverse technology on society within the next decade?
Well, I guess that depends on your definition of metaverse. I like that the group has expanded the metaverse to include intimate, nextimate, the technologies, along with kind of representational and abstract. We've got the four quadrants. I think the biggest thing that's going to happen is these are going to be blurred. I finally agree that we've got some names for marking off these quadrants, and now I just want to blow them away. So we won't know, augmented reality, for example, is already here. Your cell phone knows where you are, and it's beginning to tell you more and more. It's going to tell you, the review of the restaurant you're about to go to, and that's a good thing, except now it knows you went to the restaurant, so who's it going to provide that information to? So the surprises are going to be how much cool stuff it's all going to do in exchange for how much you're going to have to tell. If the incentives remain as they are, I like to use the supermarket example. I have the supermarket card that saves me money. It also tells them what I buy. That kind of convenience trade-off a lot of what we're talking about in the metaverse is going to be a primary revenue model, and therefore the trade-off is going to be having a good time in exchange for your privacy.
Excellent. What barriers will the metaverse technology never overcome?
I'm afraid the one I just said, that privacy in exchange for profit and entertainment is maybe one that we'll never overcome. I think the MEAT boundary and the virtual boundary will remain with us. I'm not sure if it's a barrier that should be overcome or not. We have, if you look at things that have happened, for example, to Second Life, in terms of this membrane, the lawsuit over someone having their accounts suspended and therefore losing access to their Linden property, their Second Life property, being, brought in court as a land dispute. There is no the virtual land is not land, regardless of what the president of the company might say. But this represents the leak of the membrane between the virtual and the real. And as we get into these various areas, including augmented reality, and where people you have a nice camera that actually looks like a camera. I know I'm being recorded, so I'm speaking in a specific way. If we had the same conversation and you had a hidden camera, it might be very different, and that's another membrane piercing event.